Hey Monies, Sailor Otuma-kun here. I am bringing you another, finally, review thing of Sailor Moon. It's been a while. Probably it's going to take me even longer to get this out now because I have to rewatch, not so much seasons 1 and 2 because I know those pretty much by heart, but when we get up to seasons 3 and 4, which I had never originally seen in Japanese before, or much of period. I may have to rewatch it. And when I got to season 5, I just put all that nonsense down because season 5 pisses me the frick off. And then I started watching something else. So yeah, I will get to it. I promise. It's just been a while, and like my work has been sick, has been crappy. My life's been crappy. I'm actually sick right now. I know I probably don't sound it, but I assure you that I am. So I actually got the DVD set for the last one I set up of. You see Minako's on here. So obviously she's going to be debuting in this. Um, so I've got the episode list here so I can look at it. And I obviously remember these. So let's just get into this nonsense. Um, So, episode 32 is Umino's Resolve, I'll Protect Naru. This is the freaking episode that, in the dub anyways, this is when it starts to build. Oh, in this one too, I guess. In the sub too. It starts to build the relationship between Umino and Naru, which they are a really cute couple, actually. I actually was really disappointed when Usagi just kind of cast Naru to the side and to hang around with the Senshi, which I get in a manner of speaking. She's, a sailor Senshi, and she's gotta hang out with her fellow sailor Senshi because, you never know what's gonna happen. And, like, you see Naru quite a bit up until the end of R, and then her and Umino are just, like, basically cast to the side. So I can't remember the exact line in the sub because, like I said, it's been like several years now since I started this project. But so Umino was asking Usagi for advice, like what does she think is attractive, and of course, Usagi is completely hung up on Tuxedo Mask. Um, I think this is when she's also slowly starting to drift away from Motoki. Because by now she realizes that, hey, he's got a girlfriend, so I'm going to focus all my thing on Tuxedo Mask. So she tells him roses and a white cape. So, I can't remember what he calls himself, but in the dub he calls himself Tuxedo Melvin. And I just remember every time this episode coming on being like, oh god, not this one again. Because he like throws like coconut fried shrimp at Zoisite, but it's so fucking hilarious. So that's the main plot point of this episode. Tuxedo Mask has two rainbow crystals. The Sailor Senshi, well, Sailor Moon has one, and the Dark Kingdom has the rest, giving them 4. So, as I said, I believe in a previous review, the Rainbow Crystal arc, filler arc, is one of the few filler arcs I like about this anime. I don't like a lot of the filler in this freaking anime at all because it makes it drag on for way too long. I literally was just talking to somebody at work the other day who likes anime and is looking for something new to watch. I'm like, well, if you're not afraid of harming your masculinity, because some guys are, watch Sailor Moon. But if you're gonna watch it, watch Crystal, because otherwise you're gonna be sitting there for 200 episodes and 3 movies, and most of it is filler. Meanwhile, Crystal you can get through in 39 episodes and 2-part movies. Done. And I don't care if all you haters come in at me. Well, anyways, moving on. So the plot of this episode is Zoisite wants to get the crystal back from that Sailor Moon has, So he plans to use Naru as bait. Obviously, he knows that Naru is very close to Sailor Moon, just from studying the whole time with Nephrite. So that's basically the whole plot of this episode. It also is starting to do a little bit of foreshadowing. Once again, I can't remember. Like, there's also the freaking, like, show that they call it The Wacky Wrestlers in the dub. Can't remember what the name of it is. Some Japanese name. It's, like I said, it's been a hot minute. But it also starts to foreshadow Mamoru's turning. And something that was always in the manga, too, is, like, they never really knew if Tuxedo Mask was on their side. I mean, that's briefly hinted at a few times in this anime, but it's hinted more at in the manga. There's a whole thing dedicated to it when Luna actually freaking apologizes to Usagi that she was wrong about him. But in this one, I don't remember what he says in the sub, but in the dub, he says something along the lines of, like, the Imperial Silver Crystal will be mine, and, I remember seeing that as a kid, and it was like, oh shit. I was, like, 8, 9 watching this, maybe a little bit younger, I can't remember, because I got into Sailor Moon. By the time I got into Sailor Moon, when it was airing, it was halfway through it, it was all over the place. By the time I started recording it on VHS tapes to, watch whenever I wanted to, I didn't record the episodes that I had, bought on the VHS tapes. I just record the ones I didn't have. By the time I started recording the episodes on VHS, I was already in the Dark Moon family arc. Like, the first episode I recorded, I can't tell you the first episode I saw, but the first episode I ever recorded is when Rei battles Kon at the temple. And she uses Burning Mandala for the first time. Or Mars Celestial Fire Surround. Oh, it's so pathetic that I remember this shit. Okay, so yeah, overall, Umina's Resolve, good episode. So the next one was one of my favorite episodes as a kid, because Sailor Venus was actually my favorite Sailor Senshi as a child. So this is Enter Venus, the Last Sailor Guardian, which is kind of weird to say, because she was actually the first. If you've never read Codename Sailor V, I highly recommend reading Codename Sailor V. You get Minako's whole backstory. There is an episode in this anime, and I think it's on the next disc, that gets into Minako's whole backstory. And it's tragic, but it's even more tragic if you read the manga. I mean, the anime kind of nerfed it a little bit. So, basically, Zoisite and Kunzite, oh my god, I almost called him Malachite, shoot me, want to get the last 2 crystals that Tuxedo Mask has, because, they know that they gotta have all 7 of these crystals gathered together to form this silver crystal. Of course, they don't know how to do it, but they know that's what they gotta do. So, they try to lure him into a trap. Zoisite dresses up as a fake Sailor Moon, which, that was the best damn disguise. Like, honestly, Zoisite wins the disguise department for that alone. Like, I said it in my earlier review, the best disguise Jedi ever came up with was when he was the ship captain, because he gave himself darker skin and dark hair. Like, he literally looks like Seishiro from Tokyo Babylon in that episode. Nephrite loses the disguise department because he always looked like himself just in civilian clothes. Like, how the freaking, so Zoisite wins for that disguise alone. Kunzite never disguises himself, and neither does Mamoru. Like, he'll disguise himself as Tuxedo Mask, but by the time Mamoru's fighting for the Dark Kingdom, they already know who Tuxedo Mask is. But anyways, rant aside. And they almost do it. They almost pull it off. Kunzite has Sailor's Moon, Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter trapped in this dome of negative dark energy. Tuxedo Mask is already wounded because of Zoisite's trick, in which that's important for the next episode. Like, the next episode gets me hardcore. More on that in a minute. And so they almost have it, but both when Zoisite's ready to kill Tuxedo Mask, and when Kunzite's ready to finish off the Sailor Sentry just as Tuxedo Mask is ready to surrender, Sailor Venus steps in and saves them. And I can't remember if this is said in the dub, but there is another thing that's hinted on that they didn't do in here that is important in the manga. In the manga, and therefore in Crystal, and I think even the live action does it. I have not watched the live action in full. I have seen clips of it. I want to watch it in full, and I may do it for this project eventually when life decides to calm the bloody hell down. Minako masqueraded as the Moon Princess. That's why her and Usagi look so much alike. And like that's something that comes up later in season 3 as well. She literally looks like her, so she can pull it off. In the dub, Usagi asks Minako if she's the Moon Princess we're looking for, and Minako's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand how no one ever made the connection that, hey, Sailor Moon, Moon Princess, like, you know? Then, like, Mamoru's dreams, like, you can't see her face, but you can see the hair. How many girls do you know have that hair? 2, because you can't put 2 and 2 together, they're the same person. You know Sailor Moon has that hair, and you know Usagi has that hair. Okay. Rant over. So for the next episode, we've got the Shining Silver Crystal, the Moon Princess appears, and my god, this episode. This is the episode that literally inspired me to dress up as Princess Serenity, or as I knew her back then, Princess Serena, when I was a little girl. Well, back when I was still identifying as a little girl. I do not identify as that anymore, but that's a whole other can of worms that I don't want to get into, which, let's just say I encountered some Sailor Moon fans that have no right calling themselves Sailor Moon fans, because they're prejudiced, they're homophobic, they're bullies, they're basically everything that Sailor Moon would tell them to, if, you know, Sailor Moon was a full-grown adult. Sorry, my DVD just decided to randomly start. Let me shut this up. Would tell him to sit the fuck down and shut up. Because she would not stand for any of that nonsense. She's about love. She's about acceptance. Yeah. I won't get into it. But so, anyways, this episode. This is the episode when Zoisite once again challenges Mamoru, because now she knows who she is. Now he knows who he is. Thanks to Queen Beryl recognizing his face. I mean, you know, she was obsessed with Mamoru. Or, well, as she knew him, Prince Indinimon. And she didn't forget that face. How she does not realize that Sailor Moon is Princess Serenity is beyond me. Maybe she blocked it out of her memory. But that aside, so, you know, tells him to meet him at the Starlight Tower, which is supposed to be Tokyo Tower. And any anime fan can tell you that shit always goes down in Tokyo Tower. Watch X1999, watch Magic Knight Rayearth, all the shit goes down at Tokyo Tower. All the shit. Moving on, it's literally an emotional roller coaster of an episode. Usagi sees Mamoru, decides to do her usual banter with him, but automatically realizes that he's not being himself. Like, that's not Mamoru. He's not teasing me back. Like, what's going on here? So, she follows him. They end up trapped in the elevator together. And, Zoisite, because he's a cocky motherfucker, says, I don't care what Queen Beryl wants. I'm going to kill, Tuxedo Mask and his little friend at the same time. And Queen Beryl's not going to care because we're going to have all 7 rainbow crystals. I guess Beryl never stopped to tell him that she was madly in love with Prince Indyniman. But, Zoisite in this anime is a gay man, so he wouldn't comprehend that probably anyways. So he sends the fireball down, and Usagi decides to transform in front of Mamoru, revealing herself to be Sailor Moon, and it is a big shock for him. And this begins a trope. Every season, someone close to them will learn their secret identity. In season 2, it's Chibiusa that learns it. In season 3, it's Uranus and Neptune and the Inner Senshi that reveal it to each other. In season 4, it's the Amazon Quartet with the Inner Senshi. And in season 5, it's the Starlights and the Inner Senshi to each other. It's a trope. It's a huge ass trope. Crystal didn't do this as bad. In Crystal, Mamoru and Usagi 1 start falling for each other before they know who the hell they really are. Usagi figures out he's Tuxedo Mask. He figures out she's Sailor Moon without all this nonsense. But even still, this is an emotional gut punch. And then when they get up there, she's ready to battle Zoisite, and then he reveals himself as Tuxedo Mask in the most epic transformation sequence in the history of the show. I don't care. Fight me on it. It's hilarious. It's great. I love it. They give him a proper henshin sequence, and I love it. But then, Zoisite uses one of his ice crystals. Mamoru's already wounded from their fight from, I think it was yesterday in the anime timeline. And, it's aiming for Usagi, and he takes the hit for her, which is referenced in the movie, too, actually. And it's just, it's touching. I can't remember what music the sub plays, but personally, as much as I prefer the sub over both dubs, the Deke dub wins here because that scene of them playing My Only Love, it's so gut-wrenching. I remember rewinding the tape so many damn times just to hear that song. I also had to rewind it so my mom could get a clear view of the dress, because obviously this is when, Usagi's crying, so that's what causes the 7 rainbow crystals to form into the silver crystal and reveal her as the princess. So she could get a clear view of the dress. And it was just, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. My God. So the next episode is Returning Memories, Usagi and Mamoru's past. You learn all about their past in, as Prince Indyniman, as Princess Serenity, and their tragic love story. How Queen Beryl invaded the moon, destroyed the moon kingdom. This is just a brief retelling from Luna and Artemis. And, there's a error in this episode, actually. It shows Queen Serenity with blonde hair instead of her white, purplish hair that she has. It's supposed to be silver, but it looks purple in the original anime. Fun fact, in the Deke dub, Queen Serenity is voiced by the same voice actress that does Sailor Neptune. And you can kind of see Sailor Neptune, so, foreshadowing. So it just shows how she's they get more of their past later on. And it's just everything, them coming back. I do like as much as I love Usagi's Japanese voice actress, she did an amazing job for the 30-somewhat years she voiced Usagi. What I did like, and they did away with this in later seasons, in the deep dub, um, Serena, if you rather, used a totally different voice when she was being Princess Serena. She was more regal. She had like a slight accent. She was trying to act more royal, and I loved it. It's an emotional gut. This episode is another emotional gut punch because Mamoru gets kidnapped by the Dark Kingdom. Queen Beryl, borrows energy from Queen Metalia to, brainwash him and make him an agent of evil, which in the manga he becomes Endo or whatever, like stupidest name for a villain ever. And this is when Usagi finally breaks, and you have to realize that this is a 14-year-old child, someone that has literally had all of this shit thrown at her. She went from being this normal girl that sucked at school, liked to hang out with her friends, go to the arcade, eat some food, you know, and like take naps and play video games, to this girl that's actually a superhero destined to save the world. But oh shit, she's also the Moon Princess that lived over 1,000 years ago. She's supposed to be the leader of this superhero team. Man that she's in love with just got kidnapped in front of her, and she's done. She doesn't want to do any of it anymore. So Mars comes in and slaps her and calls her a coward, which I fucking hate Sailor Mars in this anime. I think I've said that several times. I get what they were going for. In Japan, it's probably not as bad, but I don't. No. You don't do that to motivate your friends. Like, I don't remember their conversation in the sub, but I remember in the dub that Usagi just tells her, "I know you've always hated me, so just go away," or something like that. And like that hurts. Like, that's what pissed me off. Like, because that's not supposed to be their relationship. She's actually supposed to be one of her best friends, and it's just like, But yeah, I'm choking up just thinking about this episode. So the last 3 episodes on this disc start a little mini arc, we'll call it, where each of Usagi's friends get mistaken for the princess, and it's so fucking stupid. The only one that's feasibly acceptable is Minako, because she looks like her, but let's roll with it. So the first one, excuse me, like I said, I'm sick, is Usagi's confusion is Tuxedo Mask evil. Usagi has fallen into massive depression. She still has the locket that she nicked from Tuxedo Mask, and we'll listen to it. The locket that she originally gave to Prince Indyman all those years ago, and that in the manga is what saved her from dying again when she tries to re-kill herself. And it's his 4 Shintano that save him from being killed. But so she's in deep depression. And everyone's saying that she's gotta man up. We got a big battle ahead. So Minako's like, I have an idea. Maybe I'll go over there and see if I can cheer her up. And she just starts playing with Usagi's hair, all that good stuff. And then Usagi's like, maybe I should just go change my hair for real or whatever, because she doesn't want to be reminded of anything that Mamoru called her, because it's making her fall more into depression. And as someone that has lost people as both to death and just because they've decided that they don't want me in their lives anymore, I can totally relate to Usagi here. You want to erase that part of you. You don't want to be that person anymore. So the Yoma scans everyone's hair at the hair salon. They get Usagi's hair from Minako because Usagi's hair got on Minako while she was brushing it or some nonsense or another. And then at the end she sees the rose, black rose, all those memories come flooding back, and she realizes, like, Minako saw at first that he was working for the Dark Kingdom, and she's the one that tells him, like, yeah, don't get too close, he's not on our side anymore. And it's rough. It's rough. This arc drags on for so long, and it, like, just, like, make it stop. Next one is Let's Become a Princess, Usagi's Bizarre Training. This one, I guess, is supposed to be Ami's episode when she gets mistaken, but Makoto's there too, and she gets mistaken for it. So Makoto gets 2, I guess. But it's not even really that, because they narrow it down to Usagi, Rei, and Minako, because that Usagi's really good at throwing the disc, which is what, from her years of, well, not so much years, her time as Sailor Moon doing Moon Tiara action. Is it action or is it Moon? No, Magic with the Dove. Whatever. Using her tiara. And that she's clumsy and like a bad dancer and flaky. But, so I don't understand how Rei's there. Rei is supposed to be this dignified priestess. Yeah, she hates men, but she's still supposed to be a dignified priestess. And this is when you're slowly starting to see Minako dip. Like, Minako's supposed to be this badass, and like, ugh. I don't know. This, like, and you get this argument from Mamoru and Kunzite, because Mamoru doesn't agree with humans being controlled for the Dark Kingdom's personal use, and it's just, I don't know. I never really cared for that episode. It was weird. The wax statues always creeped me the hell out. But you get to see Usagi use Moon Heal and Escalation again. It's kind of cool. And the next one is the snow, the mountains, friendship, and monsters. They go to ski resort with, what the hell is his name? Yujiro? Who's Chad in the dub, whatever his name is. And they have I don't remember what they call it in the sub, but in the dub it was literally called the Moon Princess Contest, and like, that doesn't scream a red flag to you guys? So the 2 finalists end up being Usagi and Rei, and the freaking blizzard monster thinks it's Rei, and for once she has brains and she goes along with it. Because her job is to protect Usagi. And they actually have a really sweet moment here where they act like friends. When they're waiting for someone to come get them out before the monster attacks, where she's playing the locket. And Rei's like, we're gonna get him back. They can't have him, all that stuff. And like, it's actually really tender. And this is the only episode I can think of, besides her debut episode before she awakens as Sailor Mars, where Rei acts like she's supposed to. Only episode I can think of out of 200, and that is sad. Well, wait, I lied. There is one more. But we'll get to that when we get to it. It is in this season, though. And there is another part wherein Tuxedo Mask shows up again, and you can see that he flickers because the rose changes from red to black when Rei's talking to him, saying like, you can't let them just erase all those memories. You can't. So overall, another really good episode. And the last one on this disc is Paired with a Monster, Mako, the Skating Queen. So apparently, back in her heyday, Usagi, Serenity, however you want to call her, was actually quite the good figure skater. And present day, she sucks because, she's Princess Serenity, but she's not Princess Serenity. She is Usagi now. Usagi is a totally different person. But Makoto is a good skater too. And Kunzite possessed these 2 Olympic gold skaters for his plot this time. And this is another one that I really liked. I don't know why. probably because I was really obsessed with figure skating as a kid. But outside of that, it's like, you know, Mamoru and Usagi team up, and he's like, don't, you know, take this the wrong way. Next time I will be back for your crystal. And it's an emotional thing, and it's just, I don't know. I don't really have much to say. A lot of things I'm not going to have a lot to say on these episodes. I mean, this video is long enough as it is. It's just me giving my personal thoughts and a brief summary of each episode. I will go back. I will finish Sailor Moon. I've got a bunch of other anime. I may even do some old school cartoons. If that's something you guys want to see, please let me know in the comments below. Until next time, bye!